Okay, let's get going. Welcome, everyone. I want to make the best use of your time. I know it's precious. It's Tad from marketingforhippies.com, and realizing I should set my camera up somewhere else here. So, hub marketing, we're talking about, and I'm so excited to do this telesermon. I think I've done it maybe a couple times, but I've had more thoughts since then. So, I'm very excited to be sharing them with you. And where to start? Well, maybe, it'd be good to start maybe just hearing from a few of you. You could just, unmute yourself and speak up. But just, yeah, where are you calling in from, and what is the work that you do that brings you here? Just so we can have a small sense of who's in the room. Anyone can go.
Hey there.
Hello.
Hey, Tad. Thanks for doing this, first of all. And I'm Kevin. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I used to run a construction business. You can see I'm in my trailer right now. But after a big old session of burnout, I decided to actually pursue my health and wellness dream. So I've actually been doing a lot of online coaching these days. And since I also grew up with ADHD, that tends to be a bit of the audience that resonates with me pretty well. And a lot of it has to do with kind of like understanding childhood stuff and then healing that and then developing really good habits for building a successful business. So that's why I'm here.
Welcome. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'm Brian. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Hey.
I am a grief guide and a life coach. And what I'm trying to do is figure out how to market myself better for that business and also how to market the classes that I'm offering.
Okay, thank you. One more.
Hey, Tad, this is Sunny.
Hey, Sunny.
Nice to see you. And as you know, and I'll let other folks know, I work with business partners that are having conflicts around their working relationship. So I'm in the process of launching an intro program and really interested in this course. Thanks.
It doesn't matter, we're on mute. Put us on mute.
Awesome. Okay, so hub marketing is something I heard about from a fellow named Dominic Canterbury. This was really early on in my career. Fellow in Seattle, he's not in the marketing game anymore, but it was such a big moment for me because I think I'd learned a lot about how to make offers or how to package things, but it had never occurred to me, or this question of how do you find clients still seemed a bit nebulous. And what he suggested was, well, you go find where those clients are and you go, and something about it, the way he talked about it, which I'll get into throughout this, really struck me, and it's been core in what I do. And it's one of these things that I've been shocked isn't covered in a lot more marketing programs that I've seen and come across. So there are 5 things I want to go over in the call today. The first one is I want to talk about business model, and I'll talk about why I want to talk about that first. First, business model. Then we want to talk about what I call the hot level of marketing. There's 2 parts to the warm level, and then there's this cold level of marketing. And so what does that mean? So this is my best way to sum up what hub marketing is. If you can imagine, there are 3 levels of marketing. Okay, maybe I'll actually just doodle this for you. So 3 levels of marketing. Okay, so at the cold level, there's you, there's your ideal client, and you are trying to build a connection between the 2 of you, yeah? Let's see, they got money. You're trying to, but the challenge of this, why I call it the cold level, is because you're a stranger. There's no trust. And so this is the networking events, the cold calling, the cold emails out of the blue, and it doesn't work very well. And I realized one day, oh, that's when most people think about marketing. That's what they think it is approaching strangers and trying to, do it that way. But it's very difficult, as you may have noticed. And I often say you put in like 10 units of effort and you get 1 unit of reward. Meaning you work so hard at this, you can hustle on that real good and get almost nothing for it. And ultimately it drains you. You know, if your business model was entirely based on approaching new people all the time, always finding a new person, you couldn't sustain it, frankly. You'd just go out of business. So then with the warm level is what Dominic was talking about. And so you still have you still have your ideal client. But at the warm level, instead of going directly to them, what you realize is, wait a second, there's this third party I call the hub. And so this hub already has, you know, a existing relationship with your target market. And not just one of them, but we can imagine, you know, a bunch of them, tons of them. There's a whole crowd and they've got a relationship with them. And so instead of trying to build a relationship directly here where it's cold and very difficult, you build a relationship with a hub and then they kind of endorse them to you. This is simplistic. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but this is a good general understanding. Then the hot level, there's you, and then all around you, these little dots. Okay, so that's the hot level. And all those dots are hubs. So it's not just potential clients, these are all hubs. And at the hot level, this is where the word of mouth is kicked in. You know, at this level, you are, you got a rep. You know, people know who you are. Most of your business comes from word of mouth at that point. So, you know, whereas this one starts with 10 to 1, you can see how it, I mean, these are please, not precise ratios, but at first you put 10 to 1 effort to reward. At the hub marketing, it's at least a 1 to 1. That's the beautiful thing about it. You're not losing anything. It's at least commensurate to the effort, but usually much better, frankly. And then the hot level, this is 1 to 10, 1 unit of effort, 10 units of reward. I mean, we all probably know businesses like this, entrepreneurs like this, where they don't have to work that hard for the business anymore. You know, it's like that cafe or the restaurant or a body worker who's just so good that's how the business grows. So these are the 3 levels, yeah. And so we're gonna come back to these in just a minute. But I want to talk about business model first, and let me just go to my notes. There we go. Okay, so why do we talk about business model first? Because there's a few reasons. One is, if you don't have a strong business model, what's the point of reaching new clients? If you don't have a good structure for your business, it's really a fruitless thing, because you spend all this effort to get people in and they leave right away. You know, I often give the analogy of like a bucket. You know, it's like I do this in my live workshops often, but if you can imagine, there's like a faucet and then there's a bucket and the water is coming out of the faucet. You know, so this bucket is the business model. This is the container into which all your clients and money are going to go. But of course, if you've got a big leak in the bucket and water's pouring out, what's the point? Or if the bucket isn't big enough, what's the point? Why do all this effort? Yeah, if this isn't going to carry enough water to sustain you, you know, you gotta. There's just really no point to the hub marketing. So that's one reason I want to start with this. Second reason is it really underscores the importance of niche, which will of course be a big thing in this. You know, how do you find your hubs? Well, hubs for whom? Hubs for what? You know, there's no such thing as a generic hub for everyone, any more than there is a business model that's for every niche or offers that are for everybody. Number 3, building your business model will make word of mouth easier. Because if you have multiple offers, if you have multiple ways that people can check you out from a distance, you know, without signing up for the full meal deal, it just makes it easier that people can talk about you. If you only have one thing and it's this premium offer, it just makes the word of mouth more difficult. You know, what am I going to tell my friends about you? A little harder. So, and then the 4th is that building your business model will also make you more credible to hubs. which is, germane to this call. If you approach somebody and they can see that your business is in shambles, they're just going to be less likely to want to refer. But they can say, oh, this person's really got a solid situation. They'll feel more confident referring to people. So I'm going to be covering a lot of what I cover in my day-long workshop just very quickly. So if you want more on this, there's a video I've got, marketingforhippies.com/intro. It's the footage of my day-long workshop, but I want to give you the kind of overview because I think it contextualizes where we're going with hub marketing well. Okay, so there are 3 core elements of your marketing strategy. I'd say the niche, the paths, and the container. And the container is the business model. So just so we know where hub marketing fits in the big picture. Okay, so if you imagine a Venn diagram. All right, so the top we've got niche, and we've got what I call paths, and we've got what I call the container. Okay, so there we go. These are the 3. These 3 things are the core elements of any marketing strategy in my mind. And so what's the niche? The niche is just, what do you want to be known for, basically? If you were at a party, somebody's talking about you behind your back and they say something you like, you're like, oh yeah, that's totally what I do. That's it. Thank God. So that's the niche. What do you want to be known for? The paths, these are just the ways that people can find you. This was a metaphor Dominic gave that I love. He said, if you imagine your business was a cabin in the woods, they're not going to grab a machete and hack through the underbrush to find your business. There got to be trails or paths directly to the door. So any of the marketing tactics you and I can talk about, PR, social media, putting up posters, knocking on doors, I don't know, like hosting events. These are tactics, yeah, paths. And then there's a container, which is your business model. And I'll give some analogies on how these relate. So let's say you had a party and it was a theme party, and let's say it was the theme was I don't know, disco, So that's the niche of the party. That's the theme. That's what is the party known for? Hey, are you going to the party? Which party? The disco party. Oh yeah. The paths, that would be the invitations to the party. And the container, well, that's the setup of the room when they actually get there. So if you take any one of these out, you see where it falls apart. If you take away the niche, it's just a party. It's not a disco. And a disco party, as we all know, is cooler than just a generic party. If you take away the paths, well, great, disco party. And you get your house set up. You got the disco ball. You got the disco music. Everything's still great, but no invitations. And you're just lonely at home in your bell bottoms. And then if you take out the container, of course, you get, oh man, there's going to be a disco party. Invites go out, posters up. It's amazing, disco party. And they show up and you're just in your sweats eating Cheetos and just like, oh man, oh, was that today? Oh shit, sorry everybody. And disappointment. So, we need all 3 of these together. But here's where this is relevant to hubs. So with the paths, there are so many tactics. I mean, you can just hit Google, top 25 marketing tactics, top 20 marketing. This is not a very interesting concept. There's tons, there's lots, there's plenty. But I realized one day that there's one approach that you can take, and if you add it to any path, it makes the path work so much better. And so just to clarify what we mean by paths, what are we talking about? We mean, I think people misunderstand marketing. They think marketing is about finding your ideal clients. But I want to recontextualize it and say, what if marketing is not about you finding your ideal clients, but about making it easy for your ideal clients to find you? That's the perceptual flip, yeah? How do you make it easy for them to find you? Instead of running around with a butterfly net, you become a flower, and they come to you. How do butterflies go to flowers? Anyways, roll with the metaphor, it works. So this is the thing. This is hub marketing. This is the thing that if you take it to any path, it'll make it work better. It'll make it easier for people to find you. So, all right. So hubs, this is the thing. When we talk about paths, any tactic you name, and you could think of right now, if we applied hub marketing to it, it would work better. And I'll just give a few quick examples. If you, I got this from a colleague of mine, Bill Barron, and he said, it was so smart. He said, when you go to a networking event, don't go to a networking event looking for clients, go looking for hubs. That's a better use of that event. Because, you know, if you go looking for clients, first of all, there's a little bit of pressure in that, perhaps, to get the client right away. It works very seldom that you'll find a perfect client. But if you go to an event, and it might even change the nature of the events you go to, and you find somebody who's not just a potential client, but a source of a dozen or more potential clients, you see the leverage in this. I did a workshop in Ottawa years ago. I'd never been to Ottawa really, except in high school to visit a friend. I had no following that I knew of. And yet, with about 3 hours of my own work, I filled 2-day-long workshops with 120 people, 60 on each day. So how is that possible? Well, because there's a woman, Heather Garrett, and Heather Garrett is a hub in Ottawa. You know, that's her. So how did this happen? Somebody connected me with her, and we started a conversation. And she said, man, I'm really connected to the holistic scene in Ottawa, and they desperately need what you're offering. And I said, well, why don't you host it? And so I said, we'll give you $25 per person who signs up through you. She said, great, boom. And she filled it. So now, could I have filled a day-long workshop with 120 people myself? Maybe, but I just think about the amount, how much more work that would have taken me, and how much less likely it would be that people would have signed up, because I'm reaching out to people cold. Hey, I saw your ad online, and I've got this marketing workshop. You know, that's basically what it would have had to be. Individually approaching everyone. Of course, that doesn't mean approach 120 people. That probably means approach 600, 1,200 people to get 120 there, versus they hear it from Heather Garrett, who they trust, and they come. So another example would be, you know, if you write an article and you put it on your website, it probably sits there lonely for the rest of eternity. Nobody sees it, versus that same article put on a website that already has the following you're going for. It's going to be a much better response. You tweet something, you get a limited response, but you get somebody who's got a following to tweet it, and it's going to have a much bigger response. So hopefully you see what I'm saying. Like any tactic you could think of, we attach hubs to it, and it's going to work better. It's going to be easier. It's going to be more sustainable. It's going to get you probably better quality clients. They're going to be starting from a place of trusting you more, etc. It's just a better deal. So that is piece of context number one I wanted to drop. Yeah, okay, so there's also 3 roles of marketing, and this is all hopefully going to help contextualize what we're talking about. Okay, so number 1, 2, 3. So the first role of marketing is we have to get their attention. The second role of marketing is we've got to filter. And the third role of marketing is we've got to lower the risk. So again, I go into this way more detail in my day-long workshop, and I've got tons of videos on this on YouTube that you can check out. But okay. So attention. So getting their attention. Well, obvious. If you don't do that, nothing happens. Filtering, meaning just making sure they're a good fit. Making sure that people aren't signing up who are not going to be a good match for you. And then lowering the risk, making it really easy for them to, because it's often risky, you know, depending on what you do, there's often some risk in signing up. It could be just the basics of time and money, but there also may be emotional risk, social risk for signing up for what you do. There's a lot of fears that people may have. So what I want to say is with hubs, it's one of the best ways to get people's attention. What's one of the best ways to get people's attention? Find out where they're already putting their attention and go there. Yeah. Filtering. Well, you know, just by the nature of the hubs, there's often a bit of filtering that will happen, but not as much. But then lowering the risk, this is huge. We all have friends who, if they recommend a book to you or a movie or a band, you don't even think, you're like, I know I'll love it because their taste is great. Yeah. So they've functionally become the filter for us. And it's so much less risky. Like if they say, hey, come to the show tonight, you just say, okay. Whereas otherwise you might be, $50 for the show. That's a lot of money. I don't know. Will I like it? You know, it's a whole drama versus they say come and you say, okay. If you say it's good, it's good. And this is the potency of hubs. And, you know, and by the way, when we talk about getting their attention, how do we get their attention? Well, there are 3 ways, basically. Cold, warm, and hot. Yeah. Those are the 3 ways you can get people's attention. You can just, Go up to them like a stranger. But just, I'm not knocking about it. There's a place for that. But, or you can approach a hub, or you can develop such a reputation that these people just hear about you automatically. So just tying those together. Okay. And then I want to talk about, well, no, we'll skip that. Yeah, boy, there's a lot we could say. But let's talk about this word of mouth marketing. First of all, there's a video of this. If you search Tad Hargrave word of mouth marketing on YouTube, there's a video, 20-minute video of me in Edinburgh talking about this, going way more into depth. So I'll give the short version of it. Basically, I won't write this down, but I see that there's 3 levels of word of mouth. And so again, this relates back to the hot level. If we're trying to get to this hot level, so I want to start at the hot level and then work our way back. So the hot level is really based on word of mouth. So then what is word of mouth based on? 3 things, and I'll give it in reverse order. The least important thing, but still important, is making it worthwhile for people to spread the word. You know, thanking people when they spread the word, basically acknowledging people when they've spread the word. Because if somebody refers, you know, a dozen clients to you and they're great clients and you never thank them, we're petty creatures, humans. They, and Octavia, thank you for posting the video. Yeah, we're petty creatures. So of course people will stop. So it's the least important, but still it's a thing. It is a big deal. More important than that, let's say that's 1%, 9% of word of mouth is about making it easy to spread the word. So this is where the business model comes in. So for example, here's one of the things that makes it easier. If you had a monthly event every month at the same, you know, at first Monday of every month at 7 p.m., you do this intro workshop and people know that it's there, that makes it easier for me to spread the word. Because I'm just like, oh yeah, Brian's doing this thing. Yeah, it's amazing grief thing. He does it. It's like an intro. It's first Monday of every month. That makes it easier for me to spread the word. Versus if it's a little more haphazard, it's not as easy. Of course, a URL, a really simple URL, makes it easier to spread the word versus one of these really complicated, hard to remember URLs. So that's an important thing. We want to make it easy for people to spread the word, not difficult. Having a clear niche makes it much easier to spread the word. Oh, you should go see this person. They specialize in XYZ. Easy. Okay, but 90% of it, what is it? 90% of it is that you actually deliver the results, that you're really good at what you do. And here's where this ties in, because I understand that's an obvious thing to say in a way, but you being good at what you do almost certainly means some level of specialization or niche, because how can you be amazing at helping every single human? You know, this is the kind of absurdity of it, the madness of people running around with no niche and refusing to even think about a niche, because you can't be everything to everybody. And what that functionally means is you're winging it every time, every group, every client that you have, you know, you're improvising. And, but without the clear niche, it's hard to develop that kind of credibility because you're not getting results for people consistently. And people getting results and being thrilled, that's 90% of why word of mouth happens. You know, that's almost entirely it. And of course, the niche is the basis of where we figure out hubs. Yeah, so what else to say about word of mouth? A lot of it comes from, you just develop, you know, when we talk about word of mouth being, so you develop a reputation, but for what? You know, what is it you want the reputation for or about? That's the place to start. Because when we look at this diagram, you know, you can see the little dots, all these are dots are hubs. Well, which hubs? I mean, the world is full of, there's millions of hubs in the world. You don't need a lot. But so which ones? Which ones are going to be the most likely to get you your clients? So we got to start with that. Okay, so we talked about business model, talk briefly about word of mouth. And by the way, we'll have time for questions and I'm happy to delve deeper into any of this. But then let's talk about warm marketing, this warm level. Okay, so with this warm level, there's kind of two sides to this. There's the inside approach and the outside approach. So the inside approach is where a lot of the referrals happen. And I would make a distinction between a kind of referral system and word of mouth, because I think word of mouth tends to be a lot more independent than just, you know, people are stoked about what you do and they talk about it. But this inside approach, it's amazing how many people haven't done this. The thing to consider is your ideal clients, there's a really good chance they're connected to your other ideal clients. That this may be one of the easiest ways to find clients is through your existing client base. And also, if, you know, so your existing clients are hubs, is the thought here. They're already hubs, they're already connected because, you know, the birds of a feather tend to flock together. They're going to hang out with like-minded people. So this question of how do you engage them in spreading the word? To go back to what I was saying, if you did the monthly, you know, intro event, that makes it really easy for your clients to spread the word. Here's one example. It's kind of it's a referral system, but I think this fits very well. A woman, Tammy Johnston in Calgary, she had a business called The Financial Guides, and she would do a day-long workshop called Financial Journeys, and I never went to it, but apparently it's a great workshop. A lot of people loved it. And at the end of the workshop, first of all, she had like a 70-80% conversion ratio. I mean, like 70-80% of the people who went wanted to work with her, wanted to hire her. Because at the end of the workshop, she gave so much content, they just thought, shit, that's a lot. I can't do this on my own. I really need help. And who do I want to help me? This person who just gave me all this cool stuff. So that was nice. But the reason I'm telling the story is because at the end she would say, look, so the workshop was $50 for individuals, $75 for couples. And she said, if you like this workshop, you know, I'd be really happy if you told your friends. You know, if you didn't like it, zip it. Nobody likes a negative Nancy. No, she didn't say that. But she said, if you liked it, you know, I'd be happy if you tell your friends. And so I'm giving everyone here gets two tickets, or tickets for two people to come to the workshop for free. So if you know a couple and they're struggling with their marketing and they need, or they're struggling with their money, they need help, you can pass this on to them. So it wasn't like, please tell everyone. It wasn't, hey, there's a bunch of free things at the back. Everyone just got one. And I think part of the consequence of that, people think about it. And she was clear, here's who my ideal client is. This is who I'd like to work with. So if you know somebody who kind of fits that, feel free to give it. So at a certain point, almost everyone who came to those day-long workshops were from the certificates. So it's an example where you use your existing clients, the people in your workshops, the people who already have been exposed to you, you enlist their support in spreading the word. And this can be also just going to, you know, your clients and just saying, hey, I've got some spaces open. You know, there's the friends and family email, my God, that some businesses never sent out. And I think you get one of these for sure. And you might get 2 or 3, but you at least get one email, you know, when you want to grow your business, where you email all your friends and family, relatives, friends, you know, and you just say, look, everyone, here's my niche. I've got more space for clients. I'm looking to grow. Can you help me spread the word? If you know somebody who's needing this kind of help, and you can see why having a clear niche, you know, or specialization makes a big difference in that kind of email, and you can send that out. So this is, you know, your existing friends. We don't have to start going outside and trying to find new people all the time. You know, and of course, you could be going to your clients and saying, hey, what do you want from me exactly? What could I offer that would be useful to you? And they could design something. Now, if they design it, first of all, they'll be more likely to sign up, but also they may, or you might ask them, their friends might be likely to sign up. And you could just say also, what do you see as a need in your community? Like, what could I offer that would make a meaningful difference in the community, given what's needed? And again, this, if they help design it, and if it's something that's really relevant, they're more likely to want to spread the word. And of course, there's Facebook ads. You know, if you check out, maybe I can actually just grab this right now, but I did an interview with George Cow, and there we go. Yeah, marketingforhippies.com/Facebook-marketing. I'll just put this in the chat. That's an hour-long interview with George Cow about hub marketing, because you can start with the people who are already following your Facebook page, for example. They already follow you. It's a kind of inside job. This isn't like going cold out to new people. So this is the inside part of the hub marketing. Going to your existing clients, your friends, your networks, the people who are following you already, and giving them easy ways to spread the word. There's more to say about that, but again, you may have questions, so we can come to that later. Okay, so then the fourth part here is the outside approach, where we're specifically finding new people, and we're not going through our existing clients. Oh man, so this is a whole thing. The number one thing I recommend most is creating what I call a hubs database. Because you start coming up with ideas for hubs. And first of all, most people just never think about this. I mean, almost all the time at my workshops, when I talk about this, it's a new idea, and they've never really consciously sat down and thought about it. So the first thing is you just sit down and you think, okay, what are all the hubs I can just think of off the top of my head? More than you would think, frankly. And if you have a clear niche, this gets much easier. But you start to think about what are the places my clients hang out. Man, I should have had this ready for the call, but there we go. I just sent out an email recently that you may have seen, the 7 places to find your ideal clients, 7 types of hubs. So I'll just post this in the chat here. This is an excerpt from my ebook, Hub Marketing, and I'm putting it into the chat. It's going into the chat right now. It's too long. Oh shit. 1 sec. Maybe I can just put the list here. That's probably work. There we go. Okay, so you'll see here 7 types. There's events and locations. Yeah, sometimes just, there's the folk fest your clients hang out with, or there's some festival they go to. There's a coffee shop in town that you can find your people. Sometimes it's just that. And so, while putting up a poster is kind of the cold level, if you put it in the right place, it's suddenly the warm level. Putting it on random telephone poles around town doesn't do much, but yeah. There's that. So events, locations, where do these people hang out that you're trying to reach? Number 2, businesses. Where do they already spend their money? This is huge. If there are complementary businesses, you teach meditation and somebody else teaches yoga, well, clearly these are hubs for each other. Somebody sells yoga mats, meditation cushions, candles, all these things could be hubs. People who sell the yoga clothing, all of this. Yeah. So complementary businesses, even competitive businesses, frankly. Jay Abraham, he talked about this. I just thought it was so amazing. But he said he would sometimes go to people who are just his direct competitors. He said, look, you must have a list of people who just no longer respond to your mail outs. This was when it was paper, mail outs. And he said, you must have people who just never respond. Would you sell me that list? Or basically we'll send a letter to those people about my stuff, because it may be that it's just not a fit for you. And I'll give you basically X amount of money, like it was an affiliate thing. I'll give you X amount of money for someone who signs up. So this person would write like an endorsement letter, and you get the idea. And he actually did pretty well on some of those deals. If it was compliment, so even somebody who's a direct competitor could be a hub for you. And then they get to make money on the clients that aren't buying from them anymore. And then there's groups. Of course, there may be groups that they're a part of. If you want to be overwhelmed with hubs, just go to meetup.com. There's tons of people, these groups that they already belong to, that are already gathered, that somebody's already hosting. And man, you might go to meetup.com and you find a group, it's like, these are my people. Holy shit. Like, and it's, oh my God, they have 1,000 people on their meetup. You might just go to that person who runs the meetup and say, hey, do you need help with your meetup? They will, I promise. And then, you can start helping, and you can build connections that way. Support, what resources or groups exist to support them? So not a group they're a part of, but sometimes There may be nonprofits or things that exist to support people going through the kind of issues you help people with, and sometimes a nonprofit can be an amazing partner. There are publications, online, offline, you know, blogs, magazines, etc., that your people probably follow. You know, with publications, I could put podcasts in there too. You know, everybody listens to podcasts these days, and so do your people. And if you were interviewed on the right podcast, it can make a big difference. Then there's just individuals, which kind of goes back to that image. But, you know, sometimes there's just people that are really well connected and very well respected in your scene. And if you can build a relationship with them and they endorse you, yeah. And then web searching. I think that's a handy thing. Just if you were your ideal client, sit down and just go to Google and type in, lower back pain. And you see what comes up. Lower back pain Edmonton. And you'll see all the hubs locally or online for what you do. And again, you can't do that without some sense of a niche. So these are 7 different places that you could be going out to find clients. But okay, so you've got those 7 basic categories. And then what you do is you think, okay, who do I know in each of those categories? And just go one by one. And just do it off the top of your head and put it in a file, in a spreadsheet probably. A spreadsheet, you know, there's the advantage because you can organize it, you can categorize it in the different ways. You could put it by zip code, you could put it by the specific genre they're in, you could put it by how well you know them. And there's a lot of ways you can categorize it, which is really helpful. One of the things I'll always put in the Hubs database is a column for priority. I'll just give everyone a 1, a 2, or a 3 as the simple version. And then you just start with the ones that are the lowest hanging fruit. Like, oh man, I already know that person. Or I know someone who knows that person and they'd be happy to introduce me. Great, start with them, start easy. And you just start building these connections. And of course, with each hub, it'd be a different manner of approach, be a different kind of partnership that may be available. And so, yeah, as we're going through this and you start thinking about hubs, you can also think, where am I stuck? Because in the questions later, we can look at some specific examples of, yeah, what would that look like to approach that kind of person? And maybe this is a good time to say there's 3 wins that I got this from George Cow, a colleague of mine, who probably a bunch of you know. And anyone see where I put my pen? The hell? I'm literally sitting right here. I haven't moved. Ah, shit. Okay. I don't have any idea. I'll just talk about it. 3 wins for your partnering with hubs. First of all, it's got to be a win for you. If you can imagine it like a triangle. There's got to be a win for you. You got to benefit from it. Second, it's got to be a win for the hub. That can mean they make money. But also it might be that they look good. It might just be that, hey, that interview will give them good content. There's got to be something in it for them. And we have to be mindful of that when we approach. When, you know, if you've ever been approached by a hub and it just felt like take. They were just, hey, you're great, you're connected. Hey, do you want to promote me to your people? It's like, how do I get anything out of this? And third, it's got to be a win for their people. All 3 of those. It's got to be a win for you, them, and their people. Because if it's not a win for their people, you know, that's the end of them ever promoting you. So we just have to be mindful of that. What is it that would make it a win for them? I'll give you a few just quick things. Well, number 1, money helps. But number 2, this is so important, you've got to make it easy for them to spread the word. Like, so easy. Cut and paste easy. This is why with a lot of affiliate stuff, people will send swipe copy. I don't use the swipe copy myself, but it's a good idea to give people, here's the information that you need. Because if you go to somebody and say, hey, yeah, do you want to host a workshop? Sure, I can host a workshop. But you don't offer them any money for it. You don't thank them from the front of the room. And you don't, and in the promo for it, you make them write the whole sales letter for it. You see what I'm like? This is just, no one's going to do it. You want to make it really easy for them to spread the word. The easier, the better. So the first thing we start with is just the database, a Hubs database. Get a spreadsheet going. It is not difficult to hit 100. I would make that your goal. And it's not hard. Once you start thinking about it, even, and you start, first of all, not just with the specific ones, but you start with the categories. Generally who would, well, I guess naturopaths would be, or marriage counselors, or, the example I often give in my day-long workshop is a realtor who wanted to reach pet owners, dog owners in particular. So there's immediately categories that appear. Pet stores, dog parks, dog festivals, the stores that sell to dogs, dog walkers, dog groomers, dog therapists, dog whisperers, et cetera, et cetera. I could go hashtags, local meetup groups. There are tons and tons and tons. And that's just the category. So you see what I'm saying? Give me a few minutes, I could come up with 25 or 30 categories. And let's imagine each of those categories has 10 specifics in it in your city. Well, then that's 250, 300 hubs right away. So it's not hard to hit 100. It seems daunting, but it's just not in reality. So hubs database, number one. Let's just start to track it. You'd be amazed, because then that's your whole marketing plan. It's just building relationships with those hubs. Then how to approach hubs. There's a whole conversation there. Here, I'll give some just big picture tips. Approach all the hubs as if they're on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and it'll go well. Why? Because they probably are, because most people are overwhelmed. It's not a bad way to approach people. Just approach them like they're about to snap. They're so busy, because everyone's busy, but hubs are this extra level of busy. We can't overdo the courtesy, I think, when we approach a hub. It's worth approaching very slowly. And one of the big things is just with no assumption, of course. So this kind of language weaving in of like, look, I don't know if this would be a fit, maybe. I'm sure you've got a lot going on. Possibly the very open language in the approach. Really important, non-assumptive. When you approach a hub with this, because here's the hubs know that they're hubs. They're not under any illusions about it. They get it. They're hubs. So if we approach them without there's a due deference. They put in a lot of time to build the trust with these people. If they send out an email to endorse you, they will lose more people for that email than they would for another email. It does cost them to promote you. So, just a lot, we pour on the courtesy when we're approaching hubs. But it's not that hard. There's no real science to it. But if we just approach in that spirit, I think we do pretty well. And another little tip is just that first contact should probably be a very short email. It's not a page-long email. It's just, hey, I came across your work through this person, through that person, in this way. I thought there might be some fit in doing what we do. I don't know for sure. But here's the nutshell of what I do. I don't know if you bring in people to speak. I don't know if this would be a good topic to interview somebody about. But if it is, I'd be happy to talk more. Here's my info, etc. But just something very short and to the point. I get emails from time to time that are really long. And I usually just respond like, well, if you'd like to book some time, here's the rate. Because it's just a lot to go through. And so hubs, it's this extra level of, these are people approaching me who might even want to be a client. With a hub, you're approaching them? They're just thinking like, I'm probably not going to make any money from this relationship with this person. So short, considerate, direct. Okay, and Lyra asked the question, why will hubs lose people to promote you? Because people join their email list to hear from them, not about you. That's why we join people's email list. I like this person. So when they promote somebody else, it just it's like there's the bullseye of why they signed up. And this is one ring out. And depending on how connected or disconnected it is from their work, if it's like, look, hey, I know I normally email you about my niche of marketing, but I got a guy who sells knives and they're such great knives. And I want to tell everyone about these, Ginsu knives. You all got to check it out. You see what I'm saying? People would be like, the fuck? And just unsubscribe. More likely to, because a lot of people are kind of on the fence about it anyways. They're not so sold on us. So that's why. Yeah. Oh, okay, there's a lot more I could say about how to approach hubs and this whole finding hubs in this, but this may come out better in some of the questions. Okay, and then the fifth is this cold marketing approach, because there are tactics. I have an annual program called The Meantime, that's all about this kind of just hustle, how do you get clients at the cold level? And boy, there's a lot that could be said there. You've probably all done it, is the thing, which is why I'm sort of reticent to get into a bunch of examples. You've probably all hustled. This is not news to you. But, one example is like the 24-hour sale, of course, can be a way to get clients. Or I'll give a quick, simple example of this. I got from Eric Brown, his business, Bodywork Biz, and it's a product, an ebook he has on his site called bodyworkbiz.com. And the ebook is 60 clients in 60 days. But basically this, I just think this is a gorgeous tactic, especially if you got more time than money at the moment. Basically, you come up with a little, I don't know, it's like the size of a handbill, or like, something like this. And, that size, postcard size. So instead of a business card, carry these around. This is a bookmark, but, and it would say something like, it basically is good for 30 minutes of your time. It's like, hey, if you'd like to try some of the body work, it's worth 30 minutes of time. It's also got a space for the date, the expiration date, and I'd make that for 2 weeks. Because if you make it for longer, people just don't use it. So 2 weeks, it's enough time to schedule it, but still some urgency. But it's free, 30 minutes, let's say body work or life coaching, whatever it is. So yeah, if you just want to check it out, and just call me here to book or email me here to let me know to book. And then when they book, when they email you to book, you say, oh, great. Yeah, I'd be happy that time works out. And if you'd like to upgrade to an hour, it's this much. If you'd like to upgrade to 90 minutes, it's this much. And I'll tell you, like 80% of people will upgrade. Almost everyone will upgrade. Because now you're being paid something for them to come in. So this lowers the risk, makes that first experience easy. I just think that's so much a better approach than giving out business cards. Because you don't give them out to everyone. But if, let's say you're at a party and you meet somebody, you're like, man, I like you. And they're, yeah, I like you too. Your work seems, I'd like to actually check out your work. Well, here's a way to do it. Can be a way. And then you see if it's a fit. And of course, there's lots of other ways to do this as well. Okay, but let me pause there because that's a lot of content. And I imagine you may have some questions. Let me actually just do the commercial plug before we jump into that. So I have my hub marketing 30-day-ish program. I'm taking a week in the middle because I'm moving. So there's a week off towards the end. But basically a 30-day program where we're going to go into everything we just went over. Each week we'll do the business model 1 week, the hot marketing, word of mouth another, the inside thing another, the outside warm marketing another, and then the tactics in the last. So we'll be delving into it more. I'll email you the link. You've probably seen it, but it's just marketingforhippies.com/30-day hubs. That's 300 US. There we go. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have about it as well. It's my first time running this as a 30-day. I'm really excited about it. So we're going to have a chance. You'll actually have a chance to create your hubs database. And on the 26th, this Wednesday, I'm doing a niching call. So for people who join it, if you can make it this Wednesday at, I think it's 3 p.m. Mountain Time, there's going to be a call, just everyone who's can make it, to get some feedback on your niche so you can start the program with as clear a niche as possible anyway. So that's on the 26th. The program starts September 2nd. I think it's going to be pretty good. That's the shameless plug. Okay, so now let's just open it up to your questions. Where do you feel stuck with this? What do you want to know? Yeah, go ahead.
So when you talk about conveying to the person that you want to collaborate with, can you expand a little bit more on what you would be saying to them as far as the value in it for them?
Yeah. Well, it's probably easier to work with a specific example. So can you think of one?
Well, I mean, for instance, I'm a health coach, and if I were going to say a salon operator who has a lot of people, a lot of women who are concerned about dieting and weight loss, sitting in their chair and talking about specific needs related to health, you know, if I wanted to collaborate with that person, that salon operator, and really kind of be the person that comes to mind for them when they hear such conversations, what would I be conveying to her in my conversation with her as far as how that would benefit her?
Okay. Well, so part of this depends on what is the nature of the partnership that you're crafting or suggesting. Because there's a number of things. It could be like, hey, could you email your list? Could you host a live workshop? Could you host a webinar for your people? Do you want to interview me for that cool podcast that you have? Do you want to, et cetera, et cetera. So there's, I mean, probably not an infinite number, but there are options of what that could look like. And it could be that the first conversation is even exploring that. But so this is what I could imagine it being, is that you, I mean, it depends. If it's nearby, you might just show up in person, you know, and start up a conversation. You might send an email. You might just say, look, this is a sort of out of the blue thing. I know you run this salon, and I'm this health coach, and you know, I kind of do this work. This is my niche. This is what I focus on. And it struck me that maybe there may be a fit with your clients. I'm not sure, but I'm wondering if you'd be open to that conversation. You know, I had a few thoughts specifically of what this could look like. You know, wondering, there's a number. It really depends on the nature of your relationship, your own vibe, and everything. But I'm just riffing on possibilities. One could be like, you know, I'm wondering if I could take you out for lunch. You know, no big pitch. I just think there may be a fit here that could benefit us both. So there's that. Or you could straight up say, look, I've got this webinar I do, or this Zoom thing I do on this topic, and I thought it might be of interest to your people. I don't know if it would be, but you know, and it's gotten a lot of good reviews. People seem to like it a lot. And you know, the setup I usually do is that you would get all the money from everyone who signs up, you know. So normally we've charged like $25 a person, and you would just keep all the money on it. And here's some testimonials from past people who've hosted me, and some of the people who've been in the classes. You know, you can give them a link or something like that. And so you know, part of it also depends on, is this the type of thing they've ever done before? Because let's say it's a yoga studio. Well, they rent out their studio all the time. They probably bring in people from time to time. So that's not a foreign concept to them to do. Versus with a salon, this may be a completely new idea. They've never had anyone approach them like this. So it's just going to take a little more massaging and like, oh, that's interesting. But I tell you what, I'm just thinking nowadays salons, they need money. I mean, any of these live in person. So if you say, look, I just think this could bring you some money. Your clients would love it. They'd thank you for it. You know, and this could bring you, I don't know, $600, $800, depending on how many people come. You know, could deepen your relationship, and then, you know, you could host it and intro me and all this. And now here's the thing. If I'm a hub and I get approached in that way, I'm just like, who the hell is this? And why would I entrust my people to them? So there's going to need to be some trust building. So if they might say, well, I don't know, I'm interested, but is there any way I could check out your work? So this is where you might want to have a recording of that presentation. Or even better, you can say, look, here's a 10-minute video from me, just kind of talking about big picture, my point of view. So this gets into point of view marketing, which is a whole other thing, but that's kind of what they want to know. They want to get a sense of you and your vibe, but also your philosophy on stuff. So now what is it? You're a health coach, and do you have a particular niche within that?
I do. I coach chronic dieters to ditch the dieting idea, and that is a health model, and regain control of their health through more of a comprehensive approach to health.
Okay. Yeah, so you could, You could be like, here's a 10-minute video of my approach to health and weight loss and ditching the diet. Like, here's the kind of the TED talk. This is the core thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you can give them something like that.
Okay.
And that helps. I'll just tell you, as a hub, I don't have time to check out your whole website. I'm not going to go to your full workshop to check you out. I just want to get a sense of it. And this is also where, sometimes people put together really well produced videos that kind of tell the story of them and their work. And those could probably work well as well. But I might be like, here's a 10-minute video. And if you're interested, here's a recording of one of the last webinars I did. I thought it went really well. No pressure to watch it. I just thought it might help you to check it out, to see if this is really a fit, that type of thing. You want to make it as safe and easy as possible. And then it's also, hey, and by the way, if we do this, I'll basically write the email for you. Like, you just have to cut and paste. It's going to be so easy. I'll track all the people signing up, and you'll get the emails of those people after, and I'll get you the money within 2 hours of the event finishing. So then you just make money if people sign up for additional things with you.
Great.
So that's an example of how that could go.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, here's another thing, another little pitch of another approach, which is the idea of hosting a hubs gathering. This kind of a meta approach could work for a lot of you. But let's say you realize, yeah, I'm this health coach. Salons are one. And what else? What are other? In fact, let's as a group in the chat, let's just brainstorm in the chat. So it's ditching the dieting. It's health. It's kind of weight loss. Is it weight loss connected, or no? It's not weight loss connected. So it's just what's the result that they're craving?
Well, to really ditch that dieting mentality, be focused on health from self-care management, mindset of all the other aspects
Okay. And
of
is there
self-care.
anything else you can tell us about the nature of the people who would be drawn to this, like your ideal clients?
My ideal clients are people who've dieted for decades.
Yeah.
And really caught up in that yo-yo dieting, that weight loss, weight regain, the guilt, the shame starts to build. They really kind of give up in general on their health.
Now, I'm curious in terms of their worldview, would you say these people are new agey? Are they Christian? Are they into Brene Brown? Like, what are they into? Because this will help us with the hubs.
Wow. As far as what they're into, yes, I would think they would be into personal development. I think that they would be interested in, again, they still have that concern about their health, but they haven't been able to lose weight. And so, they do follow a lot of health and wellness thing. They still have a diet mentality, although they've realized diets don't work.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so there's a larger conversation around niche. There's a video I would check out on YouTube. Just search Tad Hargrave, 4 levels of your ideal client.
Mm-hmm.
And I've also put a link to a blog here, marketingforhippies.com/authors. And both of those may be helpful for refining moving forward. But let's just, based on what we have now, and I think there's some honing that could be used that would make this process easier. But in the chat, let's just take 1 minute and type out as many hubs as you can think of. This could be online, this could be local, but the categories of things. What are people who are in that situation that Lisa describes? Where might we find them? High school PTA, great. Thank you, Victoria. What else? Let's take a minute. Physicians, yeah. Acupuncture, physical therapy, great. Dog park, yeah. Gyms, yeah. Fitness trainers, possibly. Yoga studios. Meditation classes. what else? See, let's see if everyone can get at least one in there. The candy store next to Jenny Craig could be. Healthy at every size providers, naturopaths, good. Yeah, plus size clothing store is good. Therapists, sure. Weight loss club. OE meeting? Oh, over like Overeaters Anonymous, kind of maybe. Online support groups. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, this is great. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. So this is the idea. And feel free to keep going as I'm talking if more ideas occur to you. But Lisa could say, you know, man, all these people would be good hubs for me. I don't know which ones exactly because I haven't met them all. So Lisa could locally say, hey, we all reach people who struggle around food and diet, and they've done the yo-yo dieting thing, and they're you know, they care about their health, but it's been a struggle for them. And we all help them in different ways. It just struck me. And I don't do everything. I do this kind of health coaching, but I don't teach yoga classes, and I don't do fitness training, certainly. I don't host the walking club in town. That could be another one. And it just struck me we should meet each other because we can all benefit by referring to each other. So I'm hosting something at my place or, you know, at this party room at a hotel or a back room of a restaurant, wherever. And limited to 25 people. Let's just get together, first come, first serve. And here's the thing, they're not coming for you. They're coming because like, wow, that looks like some sweet networking. And one of the little pro tips is you can create this on a like secret page on your website, but you get everyone's photo and bio there. Because the FOMO breaks people down. I'm not gonna come. Then they see who's going. It's like, shit, that's really good networking. I should go to that. Eventually you'll wear them down. Anyways, so you get your 25 people, and when you're there, let's say you do it from 1 to 4 p.m. From 1 to 2 p.m., you just mingle, you chat, boy, for this, since this round, you should be serving food. And this doesn't have to cost a fortune. $300, go to Costco, get some platters, you know. It doesn't have to cost a fortune. And by the way, $300 you can spend on this, or you can spend on a shitty ad that gets you nothing. This is a way better $300. So anyways, you host it and you feed people a little bit of food, and people mingle and, oh, hey, good to see you. And of course, some of them will know each other from before. Then 2 o'clock comes, you get everyone in a circle and you say, okay, everyone, you have 2 minutes each. You have a timepiece that gets passed from person to person so they can time the person to their left. So everyone's getting like, 15 seconds, they can put their hand on their shoulder and let them know to wrap it up. And you say, so yeah, so tell us, who are you? What do you do? Is there a niche or specialization that we should know about? And yeah, do you have anything coming up you want us to know about, basically? Everyone gets 2 minutes. You get 2 minutes like everyone else. You don't like stand up and say, let me tell 10 minutes talking about my health coaching. You don't need to. It would be so overkill. But you see what I'm saying? And then you just do that little networking circle. And while you're sitting there, you got this list of all the people's names. And this is what will happen if you all try this. Some names you'll circle and like, oh my God, they're so great. I want to talk to them. Other people are like, God, why did they come? Who are they? Never invite again. I mean, literally, you'll do this. And so at the end of it, you'll have like 5, 10 people maybe you want to connect with. And then it's the most natural thing in the world to go up and chat with them after, over the snacks. And you say, we should go for coffee. And I promise you, yeah, we should. That would be great. And you set up these little coffee dates and boom, boom, boom. You got 10 meetings with hubs. This sounds so easy. It just sounds like almost a terrible idea. It's so easy. But I'm telling you, this works. I did this in Toronto for years when I did my workshops there. I would host parties. I have 60 people at my events. I'd invite also past clients. I would host the weekend, during my weekend workshop, I'd have a party on the Saturday night. So people from the workshop, then I'd invite past clients, and I'd also invite hubs. That's a winning combo, by the way, because then all these hubs are talking to my past clients and say, how do you know Ted? Oh, I went to his workshop last year. I overheard this conversation directly behind my back. I don't think they saw me there. It's like, oh, how was it? Oh, it was really good. So by the end of the night, that hub has talked to a bunch of my clients, and they leave. And this would happen all the time. People would leave. I talked to the hub for 2 minutes that night because there's so many people. But they say, hey, Ted, next time you're in town, let me know and I'll spread the word. I didn't even ask. They just, because they had a good time at the party and they met people. It was good networking for them. So, so this is the kind of thing you can do, Lisa. And you could do an online version of this. You could do a Zoom version, though. I don't think it's quite as fun, but you could have that. You bring everyone together. And then the beautiful part of it is everybody wins. Everybody benefits from this. They're all going to leave with connections themselves. And it won't always be a connection with you. But they may leave being like, wow, I met some really good people. And you can do that quarterly. Once a year, easy you could do it once a year, but you can do it quarterly. And you see what I'm saying? You've got this hubs database, you hit 100 easy, and then you just keep doing this type of thing. You bring the community together. And the beautiful part is, of course, it just makes the community stronger. So there's just so many knock-on benefits for everyone in the room, and even those who aren't in the room who will benefit from those connections. And then just as you're sitting there listening to people, you just start to imagine, what would the partnership look like? And it might be, you know what? They can't introduce me to their people, but man, I should introduce them to my people. And you could still come up with a benefit. You say, look, let me host the thing. Let me make all the money on that intro, but I'll introduce you to my people. I do this with my colleagues all the time. It's like, yeah, I'll host you, but I make all the money on the call. And they say, great. Because they know that's a win for them. Get introduced to 20 people who never would have heard of them before. Yeah. Other questions? Got about 20 more minutes. Oh, and then Lyra said, well, what do you call this party when inviting people? I missed that. Yeah, you can come up with a cool name. It doesn't even have to have a name, though, honestly. I called mine in Toronto the Green Grub and Gather for years. But it could just be like, look, this is an informal, there's no name, it's not a thing. It's just, this is a chance for us to get together. Here's who's coming. Here's who I've invited. And people get really excited about it. It's like, oh man, that would be a great meeting. Just consider this. Imagine you got the email. I say, hey, what do you say the intention is? And for us to meet each other. It's like, man, we could all be referring to each other. We could all be supporting it, but when do we get a chance to get together? We never have the chance to get together. So it's just for that. They could, like if I reached out to you and I said, hey, your niche where you work with this particular group of people, I'm getting together another 24 people who all reach those people. Do you want to come? You're going to say yes. If you're smart, you'd be like, what? You're going to bring me to a party full of my hubs for me? Yeah, they're interested. Yeah, so I'm just pretty open. The intention is just for us to meet each other. And of course, that includes you. That there'll be some fit for you too. You'll probably find some partners. Sorry, I gotta scroll back a bit here. So I think there may have been a question I missed. Oh, it's interesting. So Sunny was saying, yeah, I was in a community. The organizer made a recommendation for a VA service, had a terrible experience with the VA service, totally lost respect for the guy who recommended them. And I no longer trusted his other recommendations and also felt more skeptical of his advice in general. Ding, ding, ding. Yeah, that's happened. I've recommended colleagues once or twice who really they screwed up big time and didn't clean it up, and it cost me. Yeah. Okay, Octavia said, how often do you follow up with a hub after first contact? I've heard different things. I got no rules on that. I would just say trust your gut on that. If you're not sure, just meditate on it and see what feels true. Because it might be like, oh, man, I feel so uneasy reaching out to them. Something in my gut is just saying, no. Okay, I'll circle back in a month and see how it feels. But sometimes you'll have it where they'll just literally come to mind. You think, oh man, you just have that desire to reach out. I would just follow that and do it. as long as it's a sincere, like, you came to mind today. I just wanted to reach out. How are things going? It doesn't even have to be following up on the offer, you know. Yeah, so I don't have any rules on it, because it could be right away if they come to mind. If there's a reason to reach out to them, why not? But if there's no reason, but also you could ask them too. You could say, look, I get it. You're swamped right now. When would be a good time for me to circle back to this? Could you reach out to me in like 6 months? Totally. And then in 6 months, they get a message from you. And they say, oh my God, I'm still so busy. It's good. Can you 3 more months? Great, 3 more. Shit, another 6 months. If you do that, there is a certain point where they're like, I feel so guilty. Like, okay, we'll make time. Let's schedule a time. So there's a long game in this. And if you get pissy about it, it's over. But if you're willing to just be patient about it and know that hubs are maddeningly swamped, and also, you know, if it's an important enough hub and it feels resonant enough, you can just send, like, sometimes you'll just come across an article like, oh man, I thought you'd really like this, and you can stay in touch in that way. I'm not saying to, like, you know, there's a difference between schmoozing and but sometimes it's just, oh yeah, you came to mind. I thought, here's this article, and you just keep that relationship. Or sometimes there's events that you end up being at with them, and you can chat with them there. But boy, the big thing is, of course, you know, in marketing and dating, is neediness is not attractive. So if you can be around them, especially if you've already talked to them and they said it isn't a fit for the moment, but circle back to them later. And when you see them at the party, you don't even bring it up. You just chat with them like a human being. They're so relieved. They're just like, because part of them is feeling bad, or like, oh, this person's wanting something from me. And if you can be around them and not want anything from them, they don't have to defend, you know, it makes them more open in the future. Other questions, scrolling down. Oh, would you say more about keeping track of hubs? Nihal said. So is Nihal still here? No, I don't think so. Okay, so next question. Octavia. Oh, there you are. Okay, sorry, I didn't see you. Keeping track of hubs. So Nihal, you can unmute yourself. What would you like to know about keeping track of hubs in particular?
Yeah, I just I've struggled with different forms of organizing this kind of a thing in the past. Like I've done a Pipla file, I've tried a CRM. I want it to be like alive and fresh and like in my hand, you know what I mean? That like keeps it present for me.
Yeah, I got it. Well, you know, actually, I'd invite people in the chat. You may have your own thing for this. Sometimes it's good to have multiple options. So if you have anything, please feel free to type it in the chat. Just how do you keep track of these contacts for yourself? I don't have a CRM of any kind, and I never have. It's interesting. It's partly it's the system itself, but it's also the system to manage the system, meaning, you know, a spreadsheet, like literally a Google spreadsheet, you could be divided into different pages based on the different who they are. And then you may have certain columns for where it's at in the process with them, like a Gantt chart, basically. You know, have I talked to them at all? Have I made an offer of some kind of partnership? And you can kind of see where you are. But then the thing is to make sure you have some system to keep checking that file, basically. So that could be the kind of thing where it's just literally you schedule 30 minutes a week on hub marketing, and that's it. And you just open that file and like, okay, who's in this spreadsheet that I should be, oh shit, that, right, okay. So you can schedule it in once a week. I mean, this is so core to marketing. So, yeah, or it could just be on your daily to-do list every day. Reach out to a hub, or once a week, reach out to a hub. You know, you can have, depending on whether you work better with a to-do list or your calendar, and you can do that. And just the little pro tip on this, I find is very helpful for me. I use an app called Things. Culturedcode.com is the website. But there's tons of these. Yeah, Notion, Asana, I've heard is actually just completely rebuilt itself and is really good right now. But yeah, you can have these little reminders, but if you have the reminder, make sure you have the URL to the spreadsheet in the reminder, because otherwise it's, oh, right, I got it. And then you go into your Google, wait, where are my Google Docs? Oh, wait, what did I call that again? And if you, that little bit of friction will stop you from doing it. So if you have the link directly to the sheet, game changer. Yes, and Google Sheets may have a template. Oh, right. Yeah, like a kind of CRM almost template, I imagine they do. Okay, and Randy, hello, Randy, good to see you. Your beard is looking mighty. The, did you have an interview with somebody specializing in organizing hubs? I probably did. If you go to my YouTube, youtube.com, Tad Hargrave, or just search Tad Hargrave. No, wait, yeah. Find my, there's a playlist. I've got a playlist of hub marketing stuff. It's on my YouTube channel. Also, a little advance notice to you, because I haven't emailed my list about this. If you go to soundcloud.com/marketing-for-hippies, I've taken all the videos of hub marketing and just moved the audio over to SoundCloud. I know I prefer to listen to the audio rather than watching video. So it's just the audio of those are all there. And I don't know how much, but my guess is there's a few hours of stuff on hub marketing to kind of dig deeper and get some more examples. I'm sure I've had conversations and recorded them. Claire said, for me, the aliveness usually means I need something physical to touch. So I need to print off a table or chart, a quick thing. Yeah, well, I mean, there's the, what they call the faxophile, the Filofax, you know, like those little index cards and the little, you can have that. This works really, really well. Why not? I don't know if they still make them. I hope they do. But yeah, I'm the same way actually with a lot of things. I would prefer the physical, and you can just have an index card for each person and just go through it, you know, and literally it could be a stack of index cards on your desk. And you just, today, this person, flip, okay, tomorrow I call this person, and you write notes on the index card. Why not? Great. The most important thing is the system works for you, because yeah, if it's not going to work, if you're not doing it, it's not you, it's the system, because the different system, you probably would be able to make it work. Yeah. Other questions?
I have a question, Tad. Hey, I was curious back right at the start when you talked about the business model.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in your business model that you've landed on, which is sort of like, I see you do like an intro workshop, and then maybe like you run a program, like a 30 days every quarter. And then you have I'm just wondering, I think my question is that different once a business is established? Like I'm just setting mine up. Does it need to be different? Or did you set that up straight away? Like I like it, like the steadiness of it. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, me too. Well, I'll show you this. I put this on Facebook earlier this year. So I'll just do a little screen share. Share screen. Okay. Here it is. So this was my business model from last year. I mean, feel free to screenshot it if you like. So you can see that there's a lot of different income sources. Most of it, the kind of big breadwinner, the big one is of course my mentorship program, which isn't a surprise. That number is a little lower last year because it was half full for a chunk of the time. I just got so busy, I was traveling and I didn't have time to do much. And you can see the next big one are the products, the ebooks, which actually surprised me. That was about $1,200 a month. This is all US dollars, by the way. And then the next one was the online programs. Anyway, so this is the numbers because it may give more context as I talk through the structure that I've come to. Of course, I did more live. Remember when we did live workshops? Good times being in person. But there was that day-long workshops that I would do, and I tour those around. And so that's where's the live workshops? What the heck? Oh, here we go. Live workshops is down here in Canadian. Okay, so actually that's of course last year that would have been a heavy hitter, and this year it'll be almost nothing. But so that was a kind of, it would happen when it happened kind of deal. Then it's gotten to a point now it's quarterly 30-day events. I did the Meantime for years, and sometimes I do another one. That was my main 30-day. And now, let's say January, I do a 30-day Meantime program. In the spring, I do the point of view. I do the Marketing for Hippies 101. In the summer, I do point of view marketing. And then in the fall, I'll do the hub marketing. So then it's just a rolling, those are the 4. Then at the base of all of it, I work with 12 people, 400 US a month, helping them with their marketing and the mentorship program. There's ebooks that get sold throughout it. Most of those ebooks are sold with a 50% off code during one of my 30-day events or a live workshop. There's a 50% off code people get. And my birthday every year, it's a 50% off code for like 72 hours. And then I do teleseminars from time to time, like this one, on various topics. And mostly now what I'm doing is the teleseminars are connected to, I'll do one teleseminar per 30-day like this, because some people can't do the whole 30-day and they just kind of want to get the overview, or the dates or money doesn't work. And then I also do a few niching teleseminars as well, ideal client and target market. I'll do those a few times a year. Where it's going business model wise will be to a online membership program with Mighty Networks. And there'll be a $25 a month option and a $100 a month option as well. And so that's coming out in the fall at some point. So any questions about that?
Yeah, so I guess the question is, about that, has it changed? Like,
Oh, yeah.
so
Right.
I haven't made any ebooks yet.
Yes,
And I'm still at the sort of stage of figuring out exactly, I'm refining. So I work with women that are too nice, and I'm slowly kind of refining the smaller circles. And I've got my point of view, which feels quite clear, but it's still kind of in the developmental stage. So I guess I wonder, has that changed for you as you've become established? Like,
yeah, but yes, my business model used to, my business model used to just be, I did a free intro workshop and a pay what you can weekend workshop. And that was literally my whole thing. That was everything. And then I did one of the online, it was the kind of Marketing for Hippies 101 online. I think that was my first ever, and it went really well. And then I did the Meantime, and then I was writing ebooks, so I was selling those. So it's built. That's my wish for all of you, is a really robust, sustainable, reliable, slow and steady kind of business model that doesn't change very much over time. Because again, for hub marketing, this is very helpful. It really is impressive for a hub to see it, like, oh, you really got this thought out and you're solid, but it's also, there's more options to partner with people. There may be more ways to, I might reach out to a client or a colleague and they say, oh, Tad, I love your hub, your point of view marketing thing. I said, well, I've got a 30-day program coming up. Do you want to be an affiliate? I don't normally do it, but do you want to be an affiliate for it? Oh, that'd be great. And I could even do a call just for your people as an intro to, you can make all the money on that call. And if people sign up for my program, then great, but if not, I don't mind doing it. So there's all sorts of ways that you could partner based on the business model, or they might want to interview you about one of your ebooks that you wrote, and then you can sell the ebook after. More possibilities, and also more possibilities for word of mouth. Because if you have more stuff, if you just have the one workshop, that's the only thing people can refer them to. But if you've got more, there's just more things that people will talk about, and refer other people to. Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then Randy was saying, I think the key is understanding your niche as a prerequisite for a lot of what you've covered today. I'm still in that stage, but would be interested in any sources you have on that. Zahir, who's with you, is asking that. Hey. Yeah, boy, niching, there's a lot to say. Well, on YouTube, I've got a number of channels or a playlist around niching specifically just for free that's available. If you go to nichingspiral.com, I've got a whole website that's about that with a bunch of free stuff on it as well. Probably one of the most useful things, though they're all sold out at the moment, is doing puttering sessions. We can just talk for an hour, and I would say almost 100% of people who call me for one of these one-on-one puttering sessions, it's about niche. It's almost everybody. Like, I actually can't think of an exception in the last year. Oh, yes. Well, maybe did it start? No, that's right. Sunny, actually, okay, it's great. Fine. The one exception happens to be on the call with me today. Thanks for making me look bad, Sunny. But anyways, the exception proves the rule. So if you want help with niche, that's the puttering sessions can be very helpful. That's just marketingforhippies.com/puttering. And now, so you have a service of some kind. Can you tell me what you do?
Yeah, hi, how are you?
Good.
Good. Well, I'm just in the process right now of positioning myself as a business communications consultant.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm lucky enough to have already sort of secured a retainer with one client that I'm working on, which is great. And it's a year-long contract, and it's really paying the bills, and it's good. And of course, during the process, I'm sort of watching what value I'm able to provide to them. And now starting to think, okay, you know, how am I going to position myself going forward to, like, I mean, I don't need a whole bunch of people. I need, like, you know, 2 to 3 clients a year, you know,
Yeah.
maybe work on some specific projects, or maybe 1 or 2 retainers, whatever the case may be. But I think one of the interesting things is really trying to zero in on, you know, what value I'm offering and for who. Because some things I do right now, for example, is, you know, I develop internal reports for them, presentations, anything that, you know, they have a message that they need to get across, and they need that to be communicated effectively to the target audience, whether it's their external customers or even internal employees, like policies and procedures. So I do a lot around writing, and also presenting, and, you know, making sure that everything that's presented is clear, the message is clear, it's professional, it conforms to their brand guidelines, all of that sort of stuff. And actually, I'm doing it for a client who's based out of Saudi Arabia, and then they're in the waste management industry. It's something that I know nothing about, but
Right.
through the sort of process of asking the right questions about what they're trying to achieve on a particular deliverable, I'm able to still provide a lot of value. So I want to see how I can scale that up a bit, and how I can really narrow in on what would be my ideal target customer, that sort of thing.
I got it. Here's the basic formula is, for anyone who's a service provider, this is the old reliable, which is basically, you know how blank kinds of people struggle with blank kinds of problem. Well, I help them get blank kind of result.
Mhm.
There's 5 steps. That's the first 3. There's an ebook I've got called Crystal Clear that delves more into the specific and gives lots of examples. But basically, you know how blank kinds of people struggle with blank kinds of problem. I help them get blank kind of result. That's the template. So I would just try to fit what you do into that template. Whatever, you know, as you watch the videos, as you think about it, that's the main thing. Okay, we're going to wrap up soon, but I'm just going to answer a few more questions. Thank you, Zahir.
Thanks.
Could hub marketing apply to one-on-one service business? Yes. Oh man, utterly, 100%. Only to prove. Oh, thank you, Sunny. Very kind of you. And yeah. Oh, some point of view marketing fans. All right. Okay, well, let's wrap it up. So I may see some of you in the 30-day program, but if I don't, hopefully I'll see you down the road somewhere. Yeah, the puttering sessions are all full right now. I'm moving mid-September, so they may not open up until October when I land in Sea Shelton. Have some idea what the hell I'm doing schedule-wise. So, for the program, does it matter if you don't have a website? No, you don't need a website. No, God, you don't even need an email list for hub marketing to work. You don't need much except some clear sense of who you want to help and something that you want to offer them. That's about it. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have a good day, and I'll send a link to the recording at some point soon. Take care.